I don't think I'm ever going to sit down for one of these episodes, one of these specific episodes, one of these episodes for this specific series, and not feel weird. Not in like a negative way, not in like, we shouldn't be doing this, but in kind of this like, what the hell are we doing? Like, it just, for some reason, every other franchise that we've worked through, every other film that we sit down to review, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is, all right, put on the movie man hat, and this is what we're doing, and it's getting up to bat the same way we've done it for 270 other, it's just like what we do. Right. Something about this is just like, especially the way we're ramping up now here in the next little bit and getting real serious about like knocking these out. Something about sitting down and reviewing Scream is just like, because up until I saw the Scream movies for the first time, like a year and a half ago, they were a joke. Like it was, I don't know, it was the campy, stupid, it was up there with all the other dumb, like slasher type flicks. And so just like for us to be reviewing it and to be reviewing it with the not necessarily seriousness, but like the commitment to reviewing them that we have.
Commitment, yeah.
It's weird.
But
weird
here we are in the year of our Lord 2023 and reviewing Scream.
Yeah, hello and welcome.
Welcome to the Movie Man Podcast. I am Peter. That is my screaming co-host, Brady.
Not currently. Maybe later.
In 10 days, maybe, like literally 10 days out from the new one.
I'm so freaking excited, man. I'm so excited. I am. Honestly, it's like the critic reviews have come in for it now, and it's like one of the highest reviewed from the franchise, and like it sounds like it's so good. And you've been avoiding the trailers because you don't want any spoilers as far as like who's in it and who isn't. And
they could CGI John Wayne in this new one, and I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah. But no, I'm excited. Very excited.
I'm excited just to go back in a theater again. I feel like, I've seen Avatar 2 this year. I saw Titanic. I almost said Titanic 2, but it's Titanic 3D.
Titanic, yeah.
Titanic 2, rest in peace. I feel like we're not that far removed from like earlier on in this podcast where like the rest of the world, movie theaters were closed, and I just missed seeing new releases and just sitting in a theater and getting a good bowl of popcorn and having fun. So I'm just excited to just be living in our element where like we're living the dream of, seeing a new flick in a couple weeks and going to talk about if it's good or not.
Well, I mean, you just got to start committing to, you got to get on this MCU train. You got to get caught up with the MCU stuff.
Be like a movie a week.
Yeah, because Carl and I just did Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, right. and then I've got Scream with you, and then right around the corner is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and right around the corner is The Flash.
Right.
So
I might be on board for The Flash. I've come around from my excitement.
You gotta be, man.
I watched a Michael Keaton movie recently, and just got my juices flowing.
Yeah, Mr. Mom or something.
No, he was a cop in this movie.
RoboCop. Yep. RoboCop
is he in RoboCop?
He was in the remake. In the remake, he's kind of like he's the guy that, I don't know if he's like the police captain or what he is, but he's the guy like pushing the RoboCop program.
See, that being said, he's also a police captain in that 2010s comedy film called The Other Guys, and he plays a really funny cop, and like he always quotes TLC lyrics.
Okay.
Like he doesn't realize he's quoting them. Anyway, point
being,
and
Michael that's the thing. Keaton. Like people now forget because Michael Keaton's done so much like more serious stuff, but that was like comedy was Michael Keaton's thing, right? Like when he was cast as Batman, that was everyone's like, what? Mr. Mom? You're going to cast Mr. Mom as Batman?
Was his humor like a dry humor, like saying something flatly? Or was he?
No, I mean, it's kind of all over he was diverse, right? Because then you've got things like Beetlejuice, right? Like Beetlejuice.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's not like a dry, straight-laced comedy. That's like a goofy over the top. almost like a Deadpool level kind of comedy. Right?
Yeah.
So
That's an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
But Scream 4, the fourth Scream movie.
Screaming again.
Scream.
After 11 years.
Yeah, quite the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Quite mind the gap. Yeah. We'll get into it, but it's not, we're not in Kansas anymore. It's some things have changed.
Mm-hmm. It's also worth it, just before we jump in to, like, I don't know if you've got trivia or do you like
not for this,
impressions?
no trivia. We'll be jumping in.
This is the final film,
Okay.
not only in the franchise but in the world, directed by Wes Craven before Wes Craven passed away.
I wonder if that'll be interesting to see how that translates to the film going, like, to number 5.
Wes Craven, who of course brought us things like The Hills Have Eyes. He's the mastermind behind The Nightmare on Elm Street. Right? Like, just a horror icon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scream 4, and I think because Scream 4 came out in 2011. I think he passed away in like 2012. It wasn't long after.
I didn't know that. That's too bad.
Or maybe a couple years later, but I think he was sick. I think he was sick for a bit. But he was in his 70s when he directed Scream 4.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, like, you know, you could have a guy who directed like real grisly, awful horror back in the 70s. And you know he's gonna be an 85-year-old man on set directing the most, because it's just those guys, like,
right.
That's it's in them, right? Yep. They've got the eye for it, and that's what they like, and to them that's like old-fashioned monster movie making Hollywood stuff. And you do it with the blood and the guts and the whatever else, and that's, you know, like the Stan Winston bloody gut effects type of thing. So, yeah.
Right.
So, initial impressions.
Yes.
I'm going to say right off the bat, I think that this is, at least up until this point in the franchise, this is the best opener.
Okay.
This is the most entertaining opening. And we'll get into that. We'll talk more about the opening. I think it's the most entertaining opening. I think this is not the worst one in the series. I don't think it's the best one in the series up until this point. But certainly not the worst. And it is... And there's a little bit of foreshadowing, because there's another big, like the next one comes out in 2021.
Yeah, so another,
so you've got another 10-year gap. This is the last one that I would say is straight up campy.
Oh.
Right? Like, and they sort of veer away from it a little bit, like in the modernization, the fact that this is 2011, like it feels a little bit more serious at times.
Yep.
But it's still pretty cheese. Like there's some moments where you're like, you know, okay, I'm sorry. They're in the store and they hear the cell phone ringing from outside in the trunk. What is happening with the what?
That's true. I never thought of that.
But I think it's entertaining. I think it's fun. I think it's a testament to the sheer magic that is the Scream franchise, that a franchise like this, with this kind of premise, is 4 films in and still entertaining and still, you know, not always knocking it out of the park with convincing motives, but never flat out dropping the ball with motives either. Like the movie never ends and you go, oh, come on, you wouldn't, no. Like there's still always enough connectivity to the lore and to the previous films and everything else. I think it's quite a feat that 4 films in, it's still entertaining.
Right.
Compared to other, you know, you reach like the 4th Friday the 13th and you're like, what is even happening here? Like,
Or what I imagine John Wick 4 would be like, or however many John Wicks
yeah, the fourth one's coming out. I haven't seen any of the John Wicks yet, so I can't. I don't know. But just that like over the top ridiculous campiness of slasher films, where it just like maybe they put some money and some effort and some thought into the first one, but then it just became like Scream 17, Ghostface goes back to hell one last time, or like whatever it is, and you're like, oh, okay, he was in space in the last one, right? Okay, this, what are your initial impressions?
Yeah, it mirror a lot of what you said. I think the first thing I'd say is the nostalgia of the 90s is obviously lost in this, and for me, that's a big problem. And that relates to not only just 90s films that I enjoy, but with the campiness that came with the original ones. There are moments that are campy, and so you don't lose interest in this one, but it is weaning. And just even like things, where characters are getting phone calls on iPhones or getting text messages on iPhones. And even though it's kind of corny and like dated in its own way, just the fact that there's someone like live streaming what he's doing, it's just a very different vibe and feel to the real nostalgic elements that I enjoyed about the earlier films. And I would say this film, and I would say this is probably my least favorite of the four. Not by far, but I would say it's the least favorite of the four. And I would say this is easily the most gruesome of the four.
Like they turned it up.
They turned it up a lot. Like, girl has like her colon hanging on a bed at one point. Like, they just... Well, that's one of those coffee enema things, I think. I don't know. I don't have TikTok, but I think everyone's doing that on TikTok. But yeah, so I'd say it's my least favorite of the four. But what I will say, and we'll get into this, like you said, the intro was very interesting. And although it was my least favorite, I think the payoff twist, maybe not of the... I would say the film number one has the best payoff twist. This might have the second best. I think it not only what I found surprising, but to the characters that they built up and the motivations that they had, it actually made sense to me, and it didn't seem like a huge stretch. I say that maybe in quotes, like it's... When you write all these events on a page, they're corny and silly and not realistic. But it worked for me, I guess, is what I'd say is the payoff. So
the best one, obviously, still being the first one.
Easily, yes. Yeah. That's right. So the best of 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So, I think I've got a mixed bag going forward. I think I'm obviously excited to continue with number 5, and then it's with 6 coming out in a few days. But I'm a little starting to get nervous now, and maybe even a bit more now that you said Wes Craven is involved in the next 2. And I'm just worried, with these next 2 that are coming out, is this going to get really watered down? It's going to be even less nostalgic. I'm hoping that the themes and the vibes are there for me. So that's my only concern.
In my opinion, so obviously I don't know anything about the 6th one. Haven't seen it, haven't, whatever. The twist in number 5 for me is second only to the first one, and not second by much.
Whoa. I feel like the second part of that was like the juiciest part.
Yeah,
wow,
where if the twist number 5, I'm like, okay, this is the most believable, buyable. You're like, okay, wow, yeah, all right, I can see why you're doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So as is with any other Scream film, just this like the who's who of slasher films with the cast, right? Yep. So we've got Alison Brie, we've got Emma Roberts, we've got Hayden. I can never pronounce her last name. Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at her picture. What should I know her from?
She is in several things. Oh God, she's in Remember the Titans.
No, she must have been a young child in that.
Yeah, because that's like 2000, right? Yeah. God, what is she in? She's in... I mean, she did voice work in Hoodwinked, which, I mean, you're not going to... No. You won't know that.
Bring It On Again. Okay.
Bring It On Again.
Heroes.
Heroes. Okay. I Love You, Beth Cooper. to Racing Stripes, which was like I don't know, was it Disney or what it was? It was a child actor. You'd know her as a child actor.
Yeah, because I'm seeing here probably a lot of spot starts on like Malcolm in the Middle and things like that.
Yeah, voiced Dot in A Bug's Life.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so like not a nobody.
No.
Not a nobody in the world. Not huge, but not a nobody in the world. Kristen Bell is in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anna Paquin.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Paquin, you would know from, she plays Rogue in the X-Men movies.
Oh, sure.
The one with a silver streak in her hair who can't touch anyone, or she like steals their powers.
Right.
So she's in this. Obviously, you've got David Arquette, you've got Neve Campbell, you've got Courtney Cox. And then Lucy, is it Lucy Halley or Lucy Hall is in this, who isn't in a lot of things prior to this, but plays a significant role because she's Sherry in this. So, yeah.
And did you mention? I don't think you did. For me, I recognized Anthony Anderson, who was one of the deputies.
Yeah, okay.
He plays in a few. He's in Martin Scorsese's The Departed. He's in a few things here and there that I recognize him from.
Yeah, nothing worth mentioning.
Did you miss? that's I think that was his first Academy Award. So there you go.
Anthony Anderson, definitely. He plays. I mean, he's in Transformers. I think the first thing I ever saw him in back in the day, if I can take you back to 2003.
No, I know where you're going with this.
Was a movie called Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And you know what? Kangaroo Jack is not good, but for me, it's nostalgia, right? It's him and Jerry O'Connell. Christopher Walken shows up in that movie. Michael Shannon's in it. You know, it's just funny, right? Like it's the jacket ends up on a kangaroo and they have to go. Like it's a typical early 2000s thing.
Yeah,
but he was in Barbershop.
He's in Scary Movie, which is kind of ironic.
Yes, yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. Did you skip over the biggest one that was a surprise for me? Did you say Rory Culkin?
Oh, I did not. I did not say Culkin. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
I found that surprising.
No, I left him. Home alone. Just because he's always, just like my older brother can do it. Why can't I? Yes, we have a McCulkin kid in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, lots of star power. If I would say, I feel like less fun was poked at the Friends references. Like, I feel in the previous two, there was a lot of, like, let's talk about David Schwimmer, let's talk about Friends cast members. And they kind of dropped that a little bit. I think they got the stab references more in the beginning sequence.
Yeah,
and then they just kind of...
Yeah, I think at a certain point, you have to... You can't be a one-note franchise.
I'd be fine with that joke, but that's just me. You're right. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah. So... There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Big cast.
Very star-studded. And I feel like Emma Roberts plays a pivotal role in this, obviously. And I feel like she's one of those Hollywood faces that I recognize and that is famous, but I don't know why why she is so recognizable.
Who's that? Sorry?
Miss Roberts.
Emma Roberts. So Emma Roberts is in... She's in We're the Millers.
Yeah.
She's in a movie called Nerve.
Okay.
Which Nerve was kind of a big... Nerve is like a bizarre... Not a lot of people know about the movie Nerve. But it has like Dave Franco in it.
Yeah.
Who else was in Nerve? A bunch of people. Really, I think Jamie Foxx shows up at one point in Nerve. I could be wrong. So she's in a bunch of things, but We're the Millers is one of her more notable recent. She was in Valentine's Day.
Right. I think that's what I remember her from.
Aquamarine was when she was young. She played in 2007. She played Nancy Drew.
Oh, okay.
It was a Nancy Drew movie. So again, she's like...
Oh, and apparently American Horror Story as well.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah.
Yep. And Girl with the Tramp Stamp Tattoo, which I've never heard of until just right now, but it sounds awful.
Actually, like that's a real
film
that you've just read.
That's yeah. It's a short. It's a 3-minute short. Girl with the Tramp Stamp Tattoo.
Oh.
Did not win any awards for it. No. Interesting. So.
There you go.
So let's talk about the beginning. Because I dropped it big, or I had a hot take where I said, like, I think this is the best opening that we've had.
Even more than number one. Interesting.
I mean, it's hard to compare anything to number one, right? Because I don't know that there's a better antagonist than Billy Loomis and Stu Macher.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know that there's a better cold open than Drew Barrymore getting sliced and diced. I don't know
right.
that there's a better twist than, I'm the son of the,
Yep.
It just I don't know, but this was so good to me because it gets you twice. Right? So the movie starts out and it's like that typical, like, okay, 2 girls in the house and they're going to get murdered and like this is all going to go horribly wrong. And sure enough, one of them gets killed. And then we get up on the screen all of a sudden, instead of seeing Scream 4, we see Stabbed 6. And it's like, it's funny because you're like, oh, okay. It's a callback to sort of the meta self-awareness that these films have.
Yep.
That there's this parallel, there's this cinematic universe happening within the cinematic universe that is kind of like mimicking, like art is imitating life type of thing. And so you're like, oh, okay, that was a good one. That got us. Okay, now there's 2 girls sitting on the couch and they're watching Stab 6. Something really bad is gonna, the phone rings and blah, blah, blah. And it's gonna be this really awful thing. And sure enough, one of them dies.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of getting Scream 4 on the screen, we get Stab 7. And I think it's hilarious. And it's so, because it's still like, these are still intense murder scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's lighthearted and it's tapping into something that other horror franchises can't tap into.
Right.
Because they're not
That's
Scream.
True. That's true.
And then we get our proper, then we have one more murder scene. And then we get Scream 4 indicating that, yes, this is in fact actually the start of the film. But just like the layers of meta, where not only did we just see a stab movie within Scream 4, but we saw that even the stab movies are meta because the trick opening that we just saw happened also happens in one of the stab movies.
Right. Yeah.
And to me, that was brilliant.
I think it's brilliant. And that's a good point, because I never considered that. Like, you are the only franchise that can tap into this IP that you have, right? Like, you're the only kid on the block. So that's an interesting point. Only you can do that. And so they do that. They lean into it. And I think it's meta, and it has some really fun implications as far as, like, what they're doing with it. I think it's also just funny and kind of whimmy, too. Like, it's just when I'm watching it and I realize what's going on. And it's almost kind of farcical too, as it's meta. And just when they're alluding to, like, I think it was like Stab 5 they were alluding to, where there's time travel. And it made me chuckle, going like, okay, like, it's I guess it's a comment on how wild and ridiculous these films can get. And we're not quite there in Scream 4, but
but all of, like, that's the thing. The entire Scream franchise is a parody on the genre.
Yeah.
It has its scary moments, it still has its murder, and it still has whatever else. But the entire franchise, I think is intended to be a parody on the hack and slash genre.
Right.
So it does it flawlessly.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's a very good intro. Maybe, and probably better in some ways to number one, just because of the opportunities that are afforded of the things that they can reference in number 4.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So, this was your first time seeing this.
Yeah, and I'm still happy that we're going through this series, and it still has something there for me. I still like seeing even though you've kind of you made my day that I found out David and Courtney were married in real life, but it's also ruined my day now that I know that they're not really together anymore. But that being said, I'm still happy that we've got these original characters left. I'm aware, because I listen to the movie news and I know some things. Like, I'm understanding that at least one main character is not included in number 6 for more contractual reasons.
Nev Campbell's not going to be in it. It just basically said, you're not going to pay me enough. So
yeah. And so I think I'm still happy with number 4. We've got still a lot of good original characters. There's some elements that I'm maybe opposed to, or not as into, like the teen campiness of it that we've got, like kids doing live streaming and whatnot. But it still has elements that kind of I enjoyed in the first one. You've got this dweeby police officer. You've got I guess something that number 4 has that the others don't is the strained relationship of Courtney and her partner aren't there. Like, they are married, they're together, they're not antagonistic with each other or competing with each other and then having to reconnect. There was that awkward tension between Courtney Cox and the female deputy, where she says your lemon squares taste like ass. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this one still has original characters. The original characters are doing enjoyable things to a degree, and you've still got the campiness and the original touch of David being the law enforcement and being the sheriff in town, and still, even though there's the sheriff now, and even though there's text messages and things that ruin the vibe a little bit for me, there's the realism of just hecticness and panicness. There's still sequences where it's still a bunch of people scrambling, where not everyone is up to speed of knowing what's going on, or someone is still not out in the loop, and you have people running around, in a hospital room, and there's still dramatic irony where you're like, look behind the curtain, and not everyone knows who's doing what. And so like I said, the nostalgia is a little bit lost, but there's still enough to go with. Is
the game still working for you? And by that, I mean, for me, part of being able to sit and watch a Scream movie is this sort of, it's like a play detective along with it, and try to piece it together. And, you could almost you could start the movie with like one of those little clue notebooks.
Right.
And keep track of like people's alibis and people's motives and people's, whatever else. And for me, that's so much of the enjoyment. Is that still in motion for you?
Well, that's a good question. I feel like as much as I might have complained about some of the campiness is gone or how it's different, and I'm thinking specifically even like when the girls are in the room and then the neighbor is at their house, and the campiness just seemed different just because it seemed just so unnecessary to have police outside and you could be a text message away from calling for help or asking for help and not utilizing it. But all that being said, I'm still drawn into the scene of wondering who is egging them on this phone call when the screen caller ID says it's someone, but is it really that person? And we've got the police doing their round checks at night. And yeah, absolutely, the game is still there. We have the deputy who has lemons. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially when it's been proven so many times over now that it could be more than one, too.
Absolutely.
So seeing someone there, you're not like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Doesn't
this guy was in the room when it happened, so it's obviously not him. No. Okay.
Nope.
Is he? Nope. You almost have to watch him more to go like
step by step.
Is he in on it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely the game is still there. Even to the point where at the climax of the film, we've got the deputy who has lemon squares that taste like ass, and we don't feel comfortable. She's with our main characters, and they're alone with her, and we don't fully trust her. And Nev Campbell leaves, and obviously it turns out that deputy was not shady, but there's always speculation and second guessing. So for me, the mystery is still there, and you've alluded to this before. The magic is still there at the beginning of this film. We're not going, why are we here? We're going, who are we here to try and catch? Who are we trying to guess is the killer this time? It's not a question of why are we making another film. It's a question of how soon or how long will it take me to answer this fun question.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I said this is the least of the four, it's still part of the journey. It's still fun.
Mm-hmm. This is it. So you're saying it's the least of the four. For me, I think.
And just for context, I have it tied, like it's right neck to neck with number 2. So I've got like number 2, then number 4. And I think I gave number 2 just a bit of a nudge ahead because it took place in like 99 or whatever nostalgic era it took place in.
Right. I think for me, the only one that's worse than this one really is number 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Just in like, I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. But
no, it does. Like the payoff in number 3 was a stretch, and
it was a big stretch.
We need to talk about this payoff, but I could live with this payoff 9 times out of 10 compared to the other one.
Yeah,
I think for number 3, I think I just really loved McDreamy being a detective, and us not always trusting him at times. So number 3 worked for me, I think, more than maybe most people.
And I bought as crazy as the motivations in number 2 were. I bought that more than this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Just because it's like it's an angry, vengeful mom, right?
Yeah,
who's like
on paper, you're right. That does make sense. I think just the way it played out for me didn't work.
God, I can't wait for you to see number 5.
Vengeful Dad. Let's get into this one. Let's get into this twist, because I think what worked for me, again, I think maybe if I dropped the word realistic or something in my initial impression, that I would take that back. That's nothing in this is realistic. Right. I think just what works for me is I get it. I can relate. So this sounds weird, but I can relate to this character. Okay. I can understand this character, living in a family where everyone is drawn to what happened to her cousin, or I forget exactly the relation, but I can understand maybe the mental health results that have led to her feeling this way. Not that that's normal, not that that's okay, but it makes sense as a character for me, and it's an interesting character point for me. So I think when it happened, not only was it shocking, and I would never have guessed it, but then I also went like, ooh, you are really messed up, but I get I get the richness of making you this messed up as a character to have an interesting way to wrap up this story at the end. Yeah. I think that's what really worked for me.
I think it was, I think the whole climax, both climaxes, because there's kind of 2 climaxes here.
Yeah, that's
There's
fair.
the stuff going on at the house.
Yep.
And that's, like you have Sydney hanging off of eaves troughs and everything else, and it's like, but it's intense. It's a high paced, slasher chase.
Someone getting stabbed through a mail slot.
Yep. And so you have all that, and you have the reveal, and like you said, it's a couple of things. It's bitterness. It's because again we have 2 people kind of behind the scenes here. Right. Mm-hmm, and I think for me, like the real moment, the real like twist moment is when she's like, she can see Culkin tied up to the chair and she's answering the questions. She's answering Ghostface's quiz. And that's an intense moment. Like they really make you feel that, like, the pressure of these questions. And then she runs out to Culkin, and then he stands up and stabs her.
Yeah. Oh.
That is an amazing moment.
Yep.
It's such a good moment. You're like, oh, what? Yeah. So to me, that's golden. But then, so yeah, you've got the bitterness. You've got fame seeking.
Yep.
Right? There's the, I'm going to be the survivor of this, and the books that are going to be written about us, and the, like whatever else is going to be, we're going to be famous. And then there's also just like, there's the fame, there's the bitterness, and then there's this third point that I had in my head, and now I'm stalling until I can remember what I was going to say. There's fame, and then just the fact that they're sheer copycats, right? Like they're comparing, they're constantly referencing Billy and Stu, and that there's sort of a little bit of like idolization that's happening there. Mm-hmm. The Billy and Stu were these like legends for what they did and how they did it.
Yep.
And so there's, and there's a lot of symmetry, right? Like the fact that it's like, okay, like, stab me because you get away. And then, but she really goes and stabs him and does not want Culkin to survive, right? Like she lets him have it. So there's that climax.
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, there's that climax, but then there's the hospital climax.
Yes.
And the hospital climax is freaky as hell because nobody, because she's getting away with it. Mm-hmm. And so that's scary now because Sydney's there and fairly incapacitated, and here comes the killer to finish the job, and the killer, like, she's got the perfect cover, the perfect disguise, because everyone at the hospital and the media and everyone believes her to be an injured, she's a victim, she's an injured survivor.
Even in the end credits, there's still people misreporting it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And this is also the first Scream movie that really ends in a way, like, talk about how the film ends. Just kind of laying on the floor. That, like,
Sorry, say that again.
Well, yes. Just talk about the way the film ends. That she's just like lying there on the ground. And the shot that the film cuts to black on,
right,
this is the first Scream movie that really ends in a way that is like, let's talk about the fact that things may come out of this. There may be more of a through story that they're trying to set up. There may not be. Right. But it's the first one that doesn't end in like, oh, the wind blew the door open, I'm going to leave it open. Right? Like, it's got a real kind of feel to it. What's interesting is, and this is worth noting, that Kirby, who's played by Hayden Panettiere, it's never, she's the one that's stabbed by Culkin. It's never really determined whether she survives or not.
I think I just assumed she died, but I think you're right.
Because Wes Craven's intention was for her to take over for Sydney as kind of the lead in 5 and 6.
Oh, interesting.
But I tell you right now, she's not in 5. I don't know if she's in 6, but she's not in 5. No. So it's just an interesting, twist. It's someone who's left open for who knows. I don't know. Who knows? She could show up. She might not show up. Right. A big player in the next 2, and this is public knowledge. It's not really, or whatever. And something that I think is going to save 6, because I've seen the trailers for 6, and I'm looking at it going, like, when I first saw the trailer, not only did I love the trailer, But I haven't heard, like, everyone who loves this trailer, I haven't heard anyone go, but it's missing Nev. I think they're going to make it work. And a big star in these films now, she's plastered all over the posters, she's, whatever else, is Jenna Ortega, who is famous for having just played Wednesday she played Wednesday Addams in the Netflix Wednesday show.
Oh, okay.
So she's like top of the world right now. She's like, as far as fame goes as an actress,
this is it.
She's the hottest thing.
She's it. So,
yeah. No, it's interesting. I can tell you that it ramps up from here.
You know what? We can't complain. Better or worse, we can at least agree that Courtney Cox's hair wasn't as bad as it was in number 3.
And I don't think it ever will be again. Like, I don't see how that Pee Wee Herman bullshit
possible.
hairdo managed to make its way through.
That was pretty bad.
So rough. Do you have anything else to talk about?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, so, sir, on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rank Scream 4?
I gave it a 5 out of 10. It's right down the middle. It's at the bottom of the 4, so I go Scream 3, then Scream 2, then Scream 4. And I put Scream 4 at the bottom just because I felt like number 2 has a bit more nostalgia. So I still enjoyed the ride, still enjoyed playing the game of Clue, who did it, where did they do it, and, what did they use and all that kind of stuff. And, still fun, and I'm still excited going forward. Maybe a little cautious, but better to have realistic expectations than overhype it.
Absolutely, 100%.
What do you give this out of 10?
I give it a 6 out of 10. So,
sure.
The similar, comparable, respectable, and could have been better, could have been worse.
That's very fair.
It's got some really great moments in it. The weird thing for me, I think that's honestly something that knocked it down a bunch, was the whole film's got this weird, like, smudgy glow over it. Like it, like, visually, it's like the whole film is slightly out of focus and has this, like, warm glow filter applied to it. And it's just odd. And it's representative, I think, of a lot of films from this time. And so I it is what it is, but it doesn't do it any favors.
Fair.
Yeah. I'm so excited to talk about what we watched this week. Oh my goodness. What'd you watch this week?
Okay, I watched 3 things. The first was a 2004 film called Napoleon Dynamite.
I think that's the most overrated piece of... Anyways, go ahead.
It's funny. We grew up with it. It was that movie that everyone referenced, that everyone talked about in high school.
Oh, I said Vote Pedro as much as anyone else did. Absolutely.
Everyone, even people wore the Vote Pedro shirt. Yeah. Everyone had...
Get your own tots, gosh.
There were so many iconic lines that people overused, and I will fault people for that. I think that is just... It fatigued the film. But I rewatched it. I had not seen it in 10 plus years. And friend of the show, Marshall, recently-ish, a couple months ago, mentioned that he rewatched it and that it really held up. Not comedically, not in the ways that we watched it in high school, but artistically it held up. And I just said, hold the phone, what? And he said, yeah, like, here, check it out for these reasons. And I watched it and I listened to reviews on it. And I gave Napoleon Dynamite an 8 out of 10. Not for the reasons...
Lord.
Not for the reasons I would have given it an 8 out of 10 or 15 years ago, or when it came out. I think when I watched it when it came out, I did not have an educated palate. I just laughed at the corniness. I laughed at the awkwardness. Watching it now, I really, really appreciated the artistic direction, decisions, dialogue, characters. I think just everything from like an artistic creation, I really picked up what they were laying down. Even just the aesthetics. I feel like this was, for me, the OG indie film. This was the first indie film that I remember, and I didn't even realize it was an indie film at the time, but this is absolutely what it is. And so it feels weird, and I need to discern that, like, it's not that I think the comedy is as funny as it was, or that it's as iconic as it was. I'm just talking like as a piece of art that someone had a vision, and that art holding up, and me viewing it from a different perspective now. I could not have been more pleased with it. And even just the soundtrack and the music used the way it was, I really enjoyed it. Even just the closing when Napoleon Dynamite gives his high five to his romantic interest, I was just like clapping at the screen. So Napoleon Dynamite, I gave an 8 out of 10, and for not reasons I would have thought if you had asked me 15 years ago. So I thought that was an interesting piece of development. I was listening to a review of someone, just as a side note, he saw it 8 times in theaters when he came out, and it just is a reminder of the times. Like, this was 2004. This person saw it 8 times in theaters because he was worried it was so fringe that it might not get a DVD release, so he saw it that many times in theaters. But
that's funny. That almost intrigues me to give it a rewatch.
And you have to rewatch it with the mindset of, like, yes, there's some cringeworthy moments of maybe jokes haven't aged well, or, you know, you have to watch it for the different reasons than when our generation watched it when it came out. Because it's
right. Okay.
I feel like it's 2 completely different films if you've watched it from those perspectives.
Right. Okay. All right.
I watched 2 more things. They're less revelations. I feel like Napoleon Dynamite was like, stick my flag in this and I have to talk about this. The other 2, I went on this kick of like just wanting a light movie where I didn't have to think, could shovel in some popcorn and have a laugh. And they are they're because of Emily Mader. Emily Mader had a pretty popular social media post where she said, hey, here's a bunch of 2000s movies. What are your favorite 3? And because of me saying, oh, I've seen these ones and I've never seen these ones, it got our family, by that I mean my wife and I, to watch some of these movies. So I watched 2006's John Tucker Must Die. And I gave it a 6 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I had such a good time watching this movie, and it's not Shakespeare. That's why it got a 6 out of 10. But I just, like, it maybe hasn't aged well, but for a movie that's about getting revenge and demonizing a jerky boyfriend, I felt like it had more depth than I was expecting, where even the jerky boyfriend had a bit of like depth, and even though he was still a jerk, he was just more interesting on screen, and I had fun watching it. I had a hoot. It was fun, and it was just a fun flick, and at the end I didn't care that it was done, and I walked away and had a good time. So John Tucker Must Die. And the other one, the last thing I watched 2004's Mean Girls. Had never seen it.
You'd never seen Mean Girls?
I've seen clips because there's a lot of famous parts. There's like the Amy Poehler, like with the camcorder, like twerking in the audience. Like I've seen that, and I've found that
Mean
hilarious.
Girls is just iconic.
It is, and I think my favorite reference, there was a meme back in the Super Bowl when J-Lo and A-Rod were dating, and J-Lo did the Super Bowl halftime show, and A-Rod was like in the audience, like with his phone and like taking pictures. And then there was a bunch of memes afterwards of like, they took pictures of A-Rod, put it next to Amy Poehler, and it was like both of them in the audience being awkward and whatever.
Yeah.
Mean Girls, I give it a 5 out of 10. It wasn't as enjoyable for me. It had a lot of stuff that I was just either like fine, maybe not as enjoyable, maybe cringy at times. And this sounds kind of silly for me to say, but like the characters weren't as layered as maybe I was hoping for, or at least as I found in John Tucker Must Die, which is a comparable level film. So it was a 5 out of 10. It was fine. I get why it's so famous. There's a lot of famous characters in it. There's a lot of quotable lines. There's a lot of funny, cringeworthy moments, a lot of famous people, but 5 out of 10. It's right down the middle there for me.
Okay.
What did you watch this week?
Did we do an episode last week? We must not have.
No.
So I went to go see Titanic again.
And I ran into someone that you invited. Like, I was invited because I was part of the group message and I just couldn't go a second time. But well, we could just use his name. I ran into Aaron Mader. Yeah. And I think I just blankly told him, like, hey, sucks that you can't go. I literally would have gone again if I didn't have to work that day. So I am jealous that I didn't get to see it a second time.
Honestly, so I spent the last, week and a bit pretty sick.
Ugh.
And had I not, I was forming plans to see it again.
Well, and the thing is,
there's so many. There's people, right? There's people who I'm like, oh,
sure.
You have to see this.
Well, and the thing for me is, I would go and see it by myself again. Not even hey, social reasons. I didn't see it with Joe, so I'm going to go see it with Joe. Kind of like with Napoleon Dynamite and the guy who saw it 8 times because he wasn't sure if it was going to be released on DVD. I don't know when the next time it will be released in theaters, if ever. So,
it get feels it while you can.
Yeah, it's an opportunity that you can't really partake in all the time to see it in 3D, 4K, So, yeah. It's a special movie, and if you're passionate about it, this is the time.
So good. So good. We watched a movie called Knock at the Cabin.
Interesting.
Which is the new M. Night Shyamalan. It's got Dave Bautista and Jonathan Groff and Rupert Grint and some other people in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. I enjoyed it. I don't know. Priyan didn't enjoy it as much as I did. She was like, "I was okay." I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And
I just want to know for context, when you say you really enjoyed it, are you an M. Night Shyamalanian, and B, are you up to date on his films? For context of how, I'm just curious if that is an influence.
No, I don't. I mean, I've seen some of them. I've seen some of them, and I'm not. I've seen some of them, and I'm not. I'm not. A diehard.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I enjoy.
You enjoy.
I enjoy them. But it was good, and it keeps you guessing, and it there's a lot of stuff that happens, and you spend the whole film not really knowing if what's being suggested is actually happening or not. Kind of up until the end.
Oh.
When you find out, okay, what is real and what isn't. And it's just a really fascinating. It's just fascinating the way that it sort of plays out.
From my understanding, and I think this is just common knowledge, it's not a spoiler. It's I think it's pretty intense, isn't it? It's something like saving the world and
it is, yeah. So basically, yeah, so the premise from the trailers is that there's this couple and their child who are at some vacation home in the woods. They've rented a cottage, and while they're there, 4 people show up and sort of hold them captive and give them the option where amongst the 3 of them, they must decide to sacrifice one of the other, between the couple and the kid. They must decide to sacrifice and kill one of them, or else the world is going to end. Right? They have to do it in order to prevent the apocalypse. Is what these 4 who have shown up are suggesting. Right. Yeah. Yep. And so it's all about is that, so you spend the whole film kind of not quite sure whether that's true or not. You start off and you're like, wow, of course it's not true. But then things kind of start to happen, and you're like, I don't know what I know anymore.
Right.
And it's fascinating. It's really fascinating.
I really want to watch it, and I'll let you continue, but I feel just it would be very uncomfortable because it's kind of like the whole Abraham sacrificing your child theme mixed with there was that movie with what's his name? But like Cloverfield Lane or some such. Where I can imagine that this is quite the film it keeps you engaged because the whole time you're guessing, and it probably knowing M. Night Shyamalan, there's quite a reveal.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Finally, last but not least, and I already know your response as soon as I say this. Even though you may not say it out loud, inside your head, Pete's going to go, "Oh, you SOB. You son of a gun."
What? I don't know what this is going to be.
Last night we watched National Treasure.
Oh, nice. That's good.
And it's just so good. Like
it's so much better than the show.
Oh, we paused it so many times, and that was exactly our sentiment.
I bet you probably like paused the show and hugged each other and like were in tears saying how much better it was.
It was like he's earned it.
Yeah.
He earns it. He earns his passion for the treasure. It's been this child, since he was a child, and his grandfather tells him the story. It's kind of his birthright in so many ways. Yep. And when Peter Sadesky is like listing off, he's there talking to future wannabe crime lord FBI agent guy, and they're talking about who is this Ben Gates guy, and they're like listing he's got a bachelor's in American history at this university, he's got a degree in engineering at MIT, and it's like yes he's not just some 18-year-old with superpowers,
right?
Who's able to go like, here's the answer, right? They're on the Charlotte, and he's trying to like figure out the riddle about Iron Pen, like 55 men and Iron Pen and all of this stuff, and he's like figuring it out, and he's talking out loud, and he's making mistakes. He's going, no, that's stupid, and he like starts over and like backtracks, and he goes, it was iron, it was firm, it was like, and it's just like, you buy it. The stuff that Riley's doing, he's got to go into the, if he wants surveillance of the area, the restoration area for the Declaration, he has to break into the subway, like into a like telecommunications hub that you can access via the subway, because everything's run underground and fiber optics and stuff, and like fish a line up through this thing and like tap onto these connections, and then he's got to leave some hardware there so that he can relay that information back to his laptop wirelessly. He's not just like, oh, I'm 17 and I've got a Facebook account, I'm gonna hack into something. Like, it's just, so gosh. And then just the payoff, man. The payoff at the end of the movie when, even before they find the treasure, when they're in like this sort of in-between room where what they think was the treasure room, but the treasure's been taken. And Ben's like disappointed as all get out. And he's like, Dad, you were right. And John Voight's character is like, no, this room is real. And that means that the treasure's real. And we're in this room because you found what they left behind for us to find, and you understood what it meant, and you blah, blah, blah. And this dad who's been like the biggest naysayer, and he says at one point, he says, I've wasted 20 years of my life, and now you've destroyed yours. And so even the dad for a while was on this treasure hunt before he quote unquote came to his senses, right? And he's been like dead set against all of this. And Ben goes like, I just really thought I was going to find the treasure. And the dad looks at him and says, okay, then we'll keep looking. And I'm like tearing up. I'm like, it's they've built into this like treasure hunting epic. They've built in this father-son story that is tear-jerking, and it's just so freaking good.
I think what also I clued in on my most recent watch was how much the antagonist I just almost called him Boromir. Sean Bean pays.
No, Boromir. Yep.
Boromir pays.
Or whoever he
right?
plays in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Someone who must die.
He really, really fuels this movie. You know, he is so strong an actor and strong a character that without him, it's not as strong a film. It's still probably a good film, but he really works at fueling the character's process.
You just like, you know, when what I like in this is that even though there are three opposing parties, there's Ian and his team, there's Ben and his team, and then there's the FBI.
Yeah.
And even though they're all against each other, they respect each other. And they appreciate, like, they can appreciate when the other side outsmarts them, right? So, like, when Ben saves Abigail from the back of the catering truck, and Ian thinks he's got the declaration, but what he's really got is a poster, he says out loud, he says, "Well done, Gates."
Yeah, he's not even mad. He's just like,
yeah, he's like,
good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so there's that. And then when there's sort of this, like, you know, Ben's wearing a wire, he's been apprehended by the FBI and he's wearing a wire and he's supposed to meet Ian in broad daylight out on that, like, aircraft carrier. And then they kind of rescue Ben and Ben gets away underwater. Sadecki says, you know, like he stood us up. Smart fish. Like, he just, like, they pulled one over on us. They you know, I thought I had everything in place that I needed to have in place, and he got away. And it just there's just I can't say enough about it. There's just so much heart to it. After they find the treasure and they're sitting there in Trinity Church, and Ben Gates calls Peter Sadecki to come, right? And he's like, I have no reason to run anymore. And he hands Peter Sadecki the Declaration of Independence, and he says, you realize that you've just handed over your biggest bargaining chip. And Nicolas Cage says, the Declaration of Independence is not a bargaining chip. Not to me. And he's just like, Ben is such a patriot. Like, he's just such a, it's so freaking good. Screw anyone who doesn't like Nicolas Cage. Screw them. So good.
Well, in this movie anyway.
Yeah. And then I've started watching Mandalorian season 3.
Oh, nice.
Nice. And our review, by the time this episode drops, mine and Carl's review of episode 1 of season 3 will be out.
And about.
Out and about. So there's that. Yeah, that's it.
Very cool.
That's it. Send us off, sir.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, whether it's that you just love the Scream series and that's why you're here, whether you're a regular listener, whether you're a listener and also a Patreon supporter. We thank all our Patreon supporters. If you want to join our Patreon, check out the link below. It's ways for us to give you some goodies. It's ways for you to help us keep the lights on, keep the bills paid, and we give you some perks back for doing so. Bonus shows, the occasional video stream, bonus votes. Just check it out. It's worth a click. And if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, subscribe. We love hearing a good rate and review wherever you're listening from us. And tune in next time, whether it's our next review of Scream, the next movie news, the next the Disney or MCU property that Brady and Carl are talking about. Come give us a listen.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Or when we review Stab 7.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't know what else to say, man. Hashtag National Treasure 3. That's all I could say. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just on this train. I just want to go watch the second one now.
Do it.
Oh, I just want to see it so bad. National Treasure 3. Come on.